The future is now. I want you all to take your minds out of this digital interface and imagine instead a world where fruits and vegetables are on the prowl, lurking in the shadows, waiting to attack. Yes, it's no laughing matter. This is a very, very serious conversation that we're about to get into. It's completely believable. The attack of the killer grapefruit. Yes, totally. But think about it. I feel that in some instances, we might have more to fear from plants than they have to fear from us. It's like with sharks and everything. The same kind of narrative. Over the Christmas break, I went home. I was in Gatineau with my parents, and I don't know, one evening I was just on NPR going through some of their older articles on food related topics, and I found this one discussing the book Into the Wild. So this book tells the story of Christopher McCandless. So he was in 1992, he was 24, and he kind of decided that forget this, I'm going to go in the wilderness and live off the land, kind of. And so he did exactly that, but unfortunately for him, he kind of perished after 4 months in the wilderness. So, the prevailing theory about his death is that, he kind of died from starvation, point blank. But in 2013 or 2012, I'm not quite sure, there was another guy that was kind of just digging into his story again, kind of just trying to figure out, make it a nicer story. And then he suggested that he might have died from unintentional poisoning, because towards the last few months of his life, he was sustaining himself mainly with wild potato seeds. So there's a little kind of, tricky, sinister side to these potato seeds. Basically, if you're a healthy, well-nourished human being, person, you're totally protected against the neurotoxin that's contained in these seeds. But if you're undernourished, well, these toxins can lead to paralysis. So it's a very, different and contrasting kind of perspective. And so in the case of McCandless, he was just eating that, but he was super undernourished and had no fat stores. And so it might have contributed to his demise in the end. So I was reading that, and it just made me think, human beings over our evolutionary history, we've kind of had this intriguing back and forth or kind of relationship with toxic edible plants that we continue eating even if they're toxic, or even we eat for recreational reasons, like the magic mushroom or whatever. So it's always intriguing. And over the years, we've kind of found different ways of kind of managing that toxicity, either by improving the processing methods, or just finding ways to reduce the toxicity of a given plant. So it's not so much of an issue, a health risk or a public health issue at the moment. So that's the first point that I wanted to kind of discuss. But on the other hand, point number 2, though plants contain some toxic compounds, which are commonly referred to as phytotoxins, they also contain really positive, cheerful compounds too, called polyphenols. So polyphenols, or the family of polyphenols, are compounds that are antioxidants, so that reduce the population of free radicals in your body and might reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease and cancer. So polyphenols are found in more than 4,000 plant species in the plant kingdom. So they're they're all over the place. And so what I wanted to do today to kind of celebrate my return to YouTube is kind of play a game. And in this wonderful game, you're going to try and guess which plant will give you mad love, and which plant, mad love, and which plant will kill you. So let's get to it. The first on the chopping block, or the first on the chopping block, is my friend, the almond. What? The almond. Ooh, I'm gonna do that again. What? So, as the almond toxic, or will it give you mad love, or is it going to kill you? It depends. It depends. So, depending on the variety of almonds you're eating, there are two varieties. There's sweet almonds and then there are bitter almonds. So, sweet almonds are completely innocuous, no issue. You can gorge yourself on sweet almonds as much as you please. But bitter almonds have to be processed for a longer period of time in order to be consumed because they contain a compound called a cyanogenic glucoside. So cyanogenic glucosides are basically like they're a sugar molecule. I don't know if you can kind of see. So you have sugar, which is like the kind of hexagon shape, and then you have a cyanide molecule that's attached at the edge of the sugar, which you can't see because I drew an almond over it. So yeah, so basically, you know what cyanide is, right? That's like the poison of choice. That was the poison of choice for Hitler. And so imagine gorging yourself on bitter almonds. Well, that basically means you're poisoning yourself with cyanide to a certain extent. That was an email. Our body has several defense mechanisms against cyanide, so it's not like necessarily going to kill you, but it could lead to adverse health effects if you consume this chronically. So, end of like the take-home message is that sweet almonds are good and bitter almonds are bad. Okay, so then next on the chopping block is the tomato. I don't know. I don't think I was as successful with drawing the tomato. I tried my best. I don't know how to shade. I was trying to go for a 3D kind of look, but yeah, I kind of failed. But whatever. Tomato. Is it toxic or is it not? It is not. What? It's not. It contains a polyphenol called glutathione, or GSH. And GSH is a detoxifying agent and an antioxidant that is super, super, super good for you. And like if you want to get like a full dose of GSH, eat a raw tomato. GSH actually is being considered as a way to treat cystic fibrosis, which is super amazing because like cystic fibrosis is a really killer and intense disease, and it's amazing that like a compound found in something that you can grow in your garden can be used to treat that disease. So that's cool, the power of vegetables and healthy eating and living. Okay, and then next on the docket, I'm having fun. I wonder, I'm having so much fun on my own, but anyway, the next on the docket is grapes! A bunch of grapes. Are they toxic or will they give you mad love? Mad love, obviously. Like, how could a grape not give you mad love? They're super tasty, super juicy, and they're used to produce like my best friend. No, not my best friend, but what if a good friend? Wine. What? And they contain resveratrol. So I don't know if you've heard all this kind of blah blah about how like a glass of wine a day will keep the doctor away. Well, the reason why people say that is because of resveratrol. So there's some sketchy evidence, not completely, it's not completely proven, but there's some evidence that it might have protective effects against cancer. It might reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease, and it might also increase your metabolism. So, there's some evidence, but like I said, it's somewhat sketchy. So I wouldn't binge drink wine. Just go on like a binge of wine. I can't say words, but anyway, I wouldn't overdo it. Because if you don't get cancer, you're definitely going to get cirrhosis, which is like extreme damage to your liver. So be careful. I guess enjoy with caution. I think this is pretty. This is the prettiest one I drew today. I'm really quite happy with this. And then the last one is my baby. And like, I think I'm too excited to probably know that it's gonna be mad toxic. But yes, the last one is Cassava! What? Is this toxic? Well, will it give you mad love or will it kill you? So cassava is definitely gonna make you very sick. Like, yeah. So it's kind of like in the same family as the almond. So there's a sweet variety of cassava, and then a bitter variety of cassava. So like the almond, the bitter variety of cassava is exceptionally toxic. Like, yeah, it's exceptionally toxic and much more toxic than like the almond, because obviously a cassava tuber is huger and it can accumulate more of the toxic compounds. And so so cassava, which is like a staple crop in sub-Saharan Africa and in Brazil and Haiti, is like a super, like, it's a staple crop because it grows so easily and it's drought resistant, and that it's a carbohydrate dense crop, so it's just like an easy way to feed your family, like at low cost. But the only thing is that it depends on the variety that you're growing. So in like the Caribbeans and in like Haiti, they usually consume sweet cassava, which has a lower toxicity. But in sub-Saharan Africa, they're consuming bitter cassava, which has a higher toxicity, and it's harder to kind of process it to reduce the cyanogen content. So the issue with cassava consumption is that over the course of time, chronic consumption of cassava products that are not completely detoxified can lead to adverse health outcomes. There's like this disease called Konzo, which is like a paralytic disease that kind of affects your legs primarily. And during the 1980s in Nigeria, there was kind of a famine or kind of like economical issues following the structural adjustment programs. And so there were a lot of like entire villages where they were just consuming cassava like on a day-to-day basis. And then what researchers found, was that like the incidence of Konzo kind of went whoop, and went super, like it went, yeah, okay, my hand gesturing and facial gesture, meaning all of this to say that it just, like, there was a lot of Konzo. And so they linked the increase in the incidence in Konzo with the increased dependence on cassava. So yeah, so cassava. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Basically, the take-home message of today's video is that vegetables are good, but you have to be careful. You know, some of them are super good and you can eat them to your heart's desire, and then the others you have to be a little bit careful and cook them well. Like, be careful or pay specific attention to the preparation method so that you can avoid getting sick. So I guess like I wanted to make a few shout outs or make a few announcements. So in May, I will hopefully be going to Halifax to participate in a conference organized by the Black Society. Wait, sorry. I need to find the email. Yeah, the Black Canadian Studies Association. So me and my girl Sheree Lyon, Alien Nation, check that out. My Afrofuturist partner in crime, we're going to be presenting or hosting a panel discussion on Afrofuturism once again. And so I'm so excited to join Sheree and do this a second time. And then for the radio show, I'm really trying, like, if like this is a call out basically to any producers in the Montreal region that are like, or any experimental musicians that do electronic music that want to kind of work with a crazy girl like me that does science storytelling but wants to do like super weird stuff with audio in terms of my storytelling. Like, please get in touch with me. Let's talk, let's plan, and like let's do something. And then also I'll be going to Ghana in June. It will be the first time in almost 17 years that I'll be back on the African continent, and I'm excited but very, very anxious, obviously, and but mostly excited because, like, what do I have to fear, right? I hope, as long as I'm not, I'm not even gonna think about negative things. It's gonna be fine. It is going to be fine. But anyway, deuces, peeps, and please, I'm gonna like work on my YouTube page so you can like and follow and yeah, keep in touch. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.